Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name is Soleil and I garden in Zone 5B in mid-Michigan, and it is still cold here and it's really hard to get motivated to get out and do things, but I'm outside, and as soon as I've gotten outside it makes me feel a little bit better. The sun is starting to shine a little bit. We've got a couple more really cold nights with freeze warnings, but after that hopefully it will be smooth sailing to our last frost date. Today we're going to get some of this mulch done in this front sun garden bed and do a nice mulch makeover. I'm using a nice mulch blend that is from a local landscape supply company, and we ordered, I think it was nine yards of mulch. It was either 8 or 9 yards, and we get it delivered in a very large pile. Yeah, it was 9 yards, and essentially I'm just putting a couple of inches of this mulch down so that it will help make the garden look that much better, but it also helps improve the soil. Soil health is super important to any garden. In fact, it's probably one of the #1 things that you can do to give your garden plants the best chance at a nice healthy life. So all of this mulch adds bulk and organic material to your soil every year, if you do it every year, and I do. And as it breaks down, it feeds all of those little small creatures in your soil that you can't even see sometimes with your naked eye. Yeah, sure, you can see some of the pill bugs and some of the little creatures that crawl around in there, but a lot of them you can't. You have to have a microscope to be able to look at them. And that's pretty cool. They help break this mulch down into substances that are good for your plant roots and make it so that they can collect some of that goodness and put it into beautiful flowers for you and I to enjoy. Now, any kind of mulch is good, but I have definitely made recommendations to many people to avoid rock mulch, and that's because I have some experience with it myself. And rock mulch can help keep some of the moisture in the soil, but one of the problems that I've seen many people, including myself, have with it, because I moved to a house that had rock mulch, is that it doesn't break down and it doesn't feed your soil, and it actually can cause some problems with cleanup. So for me, it's very difficult. It proved incredibly difficult to actually get leaves out or to be able to keep the garden bed looking neat. Now, you can use like a leaf vacuum or something like that, but it's really quite tedious, and the stuff can build up over time. It gets in between the rocks, and it does start to create organic matter in between the rocks, in which you end up having lots of weeds because they'll automatically grow in it. So that's why I use leaf mulch and hardwood shredded mulch in the garden. And that's what I recommend for other people to use as well. There's certainly plenty other types of mulch that you can use. I think in the South they often use a lot of pine straw because it's readily available, or shredded pine bark. And those are really good organic materials as well. But the other benefit of mulch is it just makes your garden look great. So let me just be quiet now and get some of this work done, and we'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Here's a random thought for a mulching random thought. If there was to be a world championship of landscaping pros, I feel like mulch throwing should be a contest. Because if you throw mulch in right the perfect spot in between your plants, it can save a lot of time. It's definitely a skill I've been honing over the years myself. This garden bed in particular doesn't have a lot of spots where I can throw it because there's not a lot of space between plants. But I tell you what, those hosta beds where they haven't come up yet, that is an awesome technique to use. When you're mulching, it's important to pay attention to how much mulch is left from the year before. Otherwise, you can end up with what you might call, cake mulch, where it's just kind of piled up and very, very high. Now I'm putting all my mulch on top of my dried leaves here, and I get asked that question a lot. What do I do with the leaves? Do I clean them up first? No, I leave them there unless they're super duper thick. And I don't think that they will break down underneath the mulch, or they won't let the air and moisture through to the plants. And that's just something sometimes you learn over time, which is how quickly things will decompose in your garden. So plants can usually deal with several inches of mulch, and they're happy with that. But if it gets deeper than that, they could struggle. The nice thing about mulch is it also helps to prevent your soil from getting compacted. like as you step on it over time. It can really help in times of drought. And did I mention that it makes your garden look pretty? I might have said that once or twice. And here's the thing, if you're changing mulch colors, don't worry too much about getting rid of the previous mulch. I've seen people actually like take decent mulch off their garden to replace it with something else. Just make sure that you coat it enough so that it covers the previous mulch. It shouldn't be an issue. Plus, it's an awful lot of money to buy all of that mulch just to cover up something you already have. Or, I mean, to replace something you already have. Covering it up takes a lot less surface area and will cost a lot less. It's also better for the plant because you can just leave the other mulch right in place. It's a lot less work too for you. Okay, enough talking, back to mulching. All right, guys, well, this does it. I think we've got all of the mulch in where we want to have it for now. So let's take a closer look. I think it looks super amazing, fantastic, right? What a difference the power of mulch can make in the contrast between the green and that dark brown. You can really see where each individual plant is. It really just pops that color of the daffodils out. Everything just looks so fresh. Now, under the weeping cherry tree, I've left the inner circle unmulched. I have lots of ferns and oregano in there. So that will all fill in and cover up that circle in there. So I just want to leave it unmulched for now. And all of the hostas and purple coneflowers will come up in here soon. But wow, just look at those daffodils. Such a difference. And I actually even mulched the shade garden back here. So I will show you that as well after we're done looking at this. And unfortunately, I have to show you our cars because the mulch pile is so big that we can't park all the way in the driveway right now. But that's just how it goes when you have a big garden, right? Look at those pretty silvery leaves coming up on the oak leaf hydrangea. And at the base there you can see that Allium carataviense coming up, and those all along the border of the little stepping stones in there. So pretty. Now, I don't mulch for perfection, I mulch for the soil, and it does look beautiful as well. So you will see a few leaves still in the garden beds, but as things fill out, you won't even barely see any mulch anymore, because my preference is that the whole garden is covered in plants and that you can't even see the ground. All right, let's look at the shade bed now. So yeah, here you can see that I have really gotten things mulched up here. It looks so much better, so much cleaner without all those leaves piled in the corner. And it just is starting to fill out. We're getting some buds on the azalea there. You can really start to see the leaves on some of the bushes pushing out because you just have that contrast that you didn't have before. And that fresh green, that is that spring green that is never again in the garden until every year at springtime, comes out at this time of year. And so that's one of the reasons also why I really like mulching in springtime instead of the fall. So we got quite a bit done so far this week. We got a lot left to go, but I think it's all looking pretty beautiful, what we've got done so far, and I'm super happy with it. Well, everybody, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining me for doing some mulch and getting some tasks done around the garden. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to taking you on a garden tour and walkabout soon. See you next time.